Yeah, I got 5 today. Can Trevathan get back to where he was? Are you seeing indications? He showed us the scar on his kneecap. He broke his kneecap twice last year, or at least had his knee affected. He was a great rising star, I thought. Led the team in tackles. Can he come back to where he was?
I don't know. The stability of that kneecap is challenged. He had it repaired, reconstructed. They need his energy, they need his passion, but we haven't seen him in a competitive environment since the Chargers game in December, Woody. Training camp's going to tell the story for me, but right now it's a hedge of the bet because it's not a traditional injury. It's not ACL, it's not an MCL. I mean, he had 3 different injuries to the kneecap area, and that's for a linebacker who has to move laterally. I don't know the answer to that right now. I got to see him in pads.
Sure, and these are unfair because OTAs, you're not getting to see full practices. It's just pure speculation, but that's what we do in time. Brandon Marshall, and you brought him up the other day. Brandon Marshall was going to be fine for the playoff game. He was going to be fine in the offseason, and then up-cropped what turned out to be a more serious injury.
Yeah, Liz Frank, he had to go see Dr. Anderson in Charlotte. He's the guru of Liz Frank surgeries and ankles. He did Derek Jeter's ankle surgery. He has to have 2 screws in his foot throughout the season because the surgery was performed so late. Hey, ideally, he would have had that surgery in January. He had it March 11th because whether you say it was misdiagnosed or whatever, it didn't respond to time down. And I don't think he'll be playing in preseason. He said he doesn't need to because it's a new defense. He'd like to, Woody, but I see a situation with him not unlike Chris Harris last year where he does very little in the preseason in hopes of being ready for the season opener.
We talked earlier in Trading Now about Sly Williams. Let me come at it from a different direction. He hasn't played football that long.
Correct.
He was new to football, and then he was out of football. He was working on the assembly line, if I remember correctly. And in high school, he came to the game late. He played a couple of years at a smaller college.
Joku and then North Carolina.
Really, does he have enough of a sufficient background to be at a point at this point in his career where he is what he claims that he will be this year, a disruptive force in the middle?
Well, it's interesting because Terrence Knighton and some of his teammates kind of taught him how to watch football film over the last few years because Sly was so big and strong. He was that kid you just put in the middle, kind of like Michael Orr in the Blind Side. He's just bigger than guys, and he's just throwing them around. And he got to the NFL and realized, I can't do that anymore. Now he's got enough football knowledge to go with his athleticism. This is the year, Woody. I mean, again, I can't stress how confident he believes in his athleticism returning. You know, they always have a saying in sports, Woody, you think, you stink. Last year he was robotic. Can he get back to being the athlete he was in college? And this is a huge year for him. He's ready for the challenge. Can he pull it off? I don't know. I know they think so. Otherwise, they would have signed somebody in the off season.
We saw so little of Cody Latimer last year.
Yeah, very little.
I remember talking to John Elway 3/4 of the way through the season, and I said, would you call this receiving core the best in Broncos history? What would you think it's the best in, given its depth and width, best in the NFL? He said, yes, to both those questions. And my guy can't even get in a uniform. And I mean, he raised his voice about 2 decibels, and I could see that there was serious problems between him and John Fox in regard to that John felt this was his guy. He wanted to see him in uniform. We finally, the next week, saw him dress out. I think he had 1 reception. I don't remember another reception. I'm sure there might have been a few more.
He had 2 catches.
2 catches. Really? I mean, is that enough that we can say he's penciled in? He's a starter. He's going to be the slot receiver.
Well, athletically, he's off the charts. I mean, and he the 50-50 ball, this athletic stuff he can do at the goal line. That was one of the crimes of last season that they couldn't get him on the field for like 3 plays. Go left, go right, jump up for a 50-50 ball. But this offense,
was that a lack of
They do
picking up on the system?
Yes, it was complete. Yeah, it was, and he said that, correct, that he had trouble, especially with the audible language, that even if he knew the play, then he was so nervous when he got to the line and Peyton's changing the play. This system is simplified. It should help him. And let's be honest, if things don't go right with Demaryius Thomas and for whatever reason he's slowed down when he comes back because he's learning the offense or he holds out, Cody Latimer is a very fascinating player for them. They need contribution.
Final one I'd like to talk about, Monte Ball. We've heard, you know, I'm more of the school of background of prove something. Then you can talk, I'm going to be a force and I'm going to be great. Monte's going, I'm going to be the starter. There's going to be enough cut through it. And Monte Ball lost his job last year. They got a guy that could be a very, very outstanding, already is, but could be one of the top 6 or 7 running backs in the NFL. What is happening? What's going to happen with Monte Ball?
Yeah, I just, if C.J. Anderson stays healthy, his commitment is at a new level. I don't see Ball getting the chance to prove that anymore. I think the window closed on him last year. It's unfortunate because the appendectomy in training camp really set him back. He was never the same after that. But this offense, Woody, and you know it well, it's a bell cow offense. The back doesn't rotate in and out. It's just so if CJ's healthy and effective, Monte's going to get very limited carries. So can he be a great back in the NFL or a starter? Maybe, but I don't think it's going to be here. Now, again, last year no one predicted C.J. Anderson, and running backs, unfortunately, in this league are disposable and often injured. But if C.J. stays healthy, I don't see Monte getting that chance here.
That NFL update was sponsored by Fantasy Sports Combine. The Fantasy Sports Combine is coming. It's the ultimate experience for serious fantasy sports fans. It will be this summer, in fact, July 17th to the 19th. And get this, in Las Vegas at the Wynn Hotel. If you have followed Las Vegas at all, you know that is incredible. I've been there. I haven't stayed there because it's expensive. But for this event, well, it is. This is one of the most expensive places there, but they've got a special rate. And you're going to get to hang over a period of the weekend with Adam Schefter, Matthew Berry, Mike Shanahan, Mike Ditka, and a number. They're revealing it as we go along, but they got a lot of former players, Brandon Stokely, for instance, who are going to mingle with you. They're going to answer your questions about fantasy. They're going to give you insight, and Brandon did that here one day about what to look for in terms of matchups and what type of guys to look for and wide receivers who are going up against cornerbacks. In fantasy sports, this is the ticket. So get your tickets today at fantasysportscombine.com.